Anyone who has watched my videos over the years regarding the founder of the Nation of Islam knows that I come with receipts. Receipts are what I'm best known for when presenting my videos on this notorious fraud, affectionately known among the followers of the Nation of Islam as Master Wallace Fard Muhammad. On January 27, 2025, I uploaded a video titled, "Not a single public record places Wallace Fard Muhammad in a foreign country. Every public record regarding the Nation of Islam's founder is a United States of America public document. To this very date, no one has produced a public record that places the Nation of Islam's founder in a foreign country. The closest researchers have come to placing him in a foreign country is through attempts to link him to early 1900s ship manifests, bearing South Asian-sounding names such as Khan Alam, Khani Alam Khan, Zardad Khan, and most recently Walidad Khan. However, none of these names have been proven to belong to our protagonist, the elusive founder of the Nation of Islam. Approaching the end of the video, I displayed a never-before publicly seen photograph of Wallace Fard's only known child with Hazel Barton. I received the image in 2023 from an Ancestry.com account holder who identified herself only as Jenny and described herself as the steward of Hazel Barton Holzneck's historical records. Hazel Barton was the former common-law wife of the founder of the Nation of Islam during his time in California in the 1910s and 1920s as Wallace Fard. After she and Fard split up in 1922, Hazel married 3 more times. Her final marriage was in 1967 to Joseph Constantine Holznecht. In the video, I clearly stated that the photo came from Jenny. I first encountered her Ancestry.com profile in October 2023 while browsing public records as a guest. Seeing that she referred to herself as the steward of Hazel Barton Holzneck's historical records, I suspected she might be a relative and proceeded to contact her. I clicked the hyperlink provided, left my email address, and explained that I had been researching the founder of the Nation of Islam, Wallace Fard, with aliases, for several years. I asked if she would be willing to share any relevant photos or documents related to Hazel Barton or Wallace Fard Muhammad. Surprisingly, the account holder replied and kindly shared a hyperlink containing familiar materials, except for one image that immediately caught my attention. Jenny identified the image as the graduation photo of the son of Hazel Barton and Wallace Fard. There was no name on the photo, however, it was passed to me with that context. I ended the email exchange by apologizing for imposing on her privacy with unsolicited questions. She responded that my questions were not an imposition. To set the record straight, neither the general public nor the scholarly community recognized this previously unknown photograph's connection to the founder of the Nation of Islam until I shared it in my January 2025 video. Well-known historians and scholars were unaware of its existence. Dr. John Andrew Morrow, a respected research scholar and author of the compelling book, Finding W.D. Fard, acknowledged that he was unaware of the photo's existence until someone, who had obviously seen my video, brought it to his attention to get his professional assessment of its authenticity. As part of promoting his upcoming book, Dr. Morrow wrote a piece for the Berkeley Institute for Islamic Studies regarding this never-before-seen photo of Wallace Fard's only son. In the piece, Dr. Morrow stated that I, Resume Byron, failed to produce the photo's provenance. While it is true that the image lacked full documentation, nonetheless, that is how I received it. I shared the photo because of its striking resemblance to the founder of the Nation of Islam, and also as an important lead in a larger, ongoing investigation. The mysterious disappearance of Wallace Fard Muhammad with aliases, and what ultimately became of him after he abruptly stopped communicating with Hazel Barton and their only child, and simultaneously stopped communicating with Elijah Muhammad and the emerging Nation of Islam movement. Wallace Fard appeared to vanish from the face of the earth after 1934. By his own admission, Dr. Morrow was able to locate the yearbook image very quickly, because in my video, I provided a clear search term, graduation photo. That phrase narrowed Dr. Morrow's search significantly and pointed him toward high school yearbooks, which ultimately led him to the Benjamin Franklin High School class of 1940. While I appreciate that Dr. Morrow pursued documented verification, but let it be clear, his verification was not independent of my work. It was directly prompted by it. After conducting his verification research, Dr. Morrow cites an estimated 1924 birth date, an estimate that, notably, was never printed in the yearbook itself. This estimate appears to have been generated by Ancestry.com's algorithm, which typically assumes high school students are between 16 and 18 years of age. Continuing with his verification, Dr. Morrow goes on to say, quote, "Logic dictates that this information was provided by Ancestry.com. It is inconceivable that a yearbook would contain estimated ages and years of birth. The reasons behind Dr. Morrow's decision to develop a detailed hypothetical scenario based on algorithm-generated metadata are not fully clear, especially since Junior's birth certificate and the details of his drowning have been publicly accessible for decades. Wallace Fard Jr.'s birth certificate and the documentation of his drowning in 1942 while serving in the U.S. Coast Guard were both included in the FBI file following their 1957 interview with Hazel Barton. Although these records have been publicly accessible since 1979, the year the FBI declassified its file on Wallace Fard Muhammad, they are now much easier to obtain thanks to the internet. It's obvious that the company which uploaded the high school yearbook photos didn't have specific information, such as Wallace Max Ford's date of birth, or the knowledge that his name was formerly Wallace Fard Jr. As a high school student and member of the ROTC, Wallace Fard Jr. expressed to his mother that he wanted to join the United States Coast Guard after graduation. However, Hazel feared that his father's criminal record as a convicted felon could jeopardize her son's chances of being accepted. Taking this into consideration, on July 10, 1940, Hazel Barton had her son's name legally changed to Wallace Max Ford. Upon graduating from high school, the boy did indeed join the Coast Guard. But tragically, exactly 2 years and 24 days after his name change, Wallace Max Ford drowned on August 3, 1942, while serving in the United States Coast Guard. When the FBI intentionally leaked Master Fard Muhammad's identity as a convicted felon to the press, along with a copy of his son's birth certificate, the San Francisco Examiner published the story on July 28, 1963. Here is a clearer copy of Junior's original birth certificate. Borrowing a quote from former U.S. President Richard Nixon, "Let me make myself perfectly clear. I did not obtain the yearbook photo of Wallace Max Ford directly from Ancestry.com or any other genealogy website. In fact, I had no idea that such a photo existed. Apparently, no one else did either. Rather, as I have previously stated, I contacted an account holder on the Ancestry.com platform who described themselves as the steward of Hazel Barton Holzneck's historical records. I provided my email address, not really expecting a response. Generally, people on the internet who claim to have a family connection to Wallace Fard Muhammad rarely follow through. So, when the account holder actually replied, I was more than a little surprised. I fully recognize and respect the standards of peer-reviewed research, particularly the importance of provenance and documentation. Still, historical investigation often begins with a lead, a thread, or a family story, especially when the subject has intentionally obscured their past, as Wallace Fard Muhammad clearly did. I took the responsible step by making the photograph public and identifying its origin, an Ancestry.com account holder, who described herself as the steward of Hazel Barton's historical records. The image is an extremely significant piece to the puzzle of the elusive Nation of Islam founder. And I'm proud to know that, through my efforts, this previously unseen and unknown photograph of Farad's only son has now entered broader academic awareness. With that being said, it's important not to mischaracterize the work of independent researchers who contribute meaningful evidence to historical inquiry. I'm not new to this by a long shot. Since 2008, I have presented compelling evidence demonstrating that Wallace Fard Muhammad, under various aliases, was, by all available reports, a fraud in every respect. Let me add this tidbit in closing. In early 2025, researcher Anton Beatty emailed me, asking that I contact him regarding a book he was planning to publish. I eventually got back with him, and during our phone conversation, I told him that I have a previously unseen photo of Farad's only child with Hazel Barton. Noticing excitement in his voice, Anton asked me, would I share the photo with him? Which I did. After receiving the photo, he asked whether I was certain it was a photo of Farad's son. I explained to Anton that I had received it from a woman who described herself as the steward of Hazel Barton's historical records, and she identified it as the graduation photo of Farad's son, Wallace Fard Jr. To my surprise, Anton has included the photograph in his book he previously mentioned to me, a book he co-authored with Kevin Morris, titled W.D. Farad's First Footsteps in America, The Trail in Oregon. I have no issue sharing previously unknown information about the founder of the Nation of Islam that I uncover through my research. But if you're going to use my discoveries in your books, journals, or articles, then give me the credit. Plain and simple. I've held back one critical photo for good reason, and with opportunists like Anton in the mix, I have no regrets about doing so. That said, I will release this other photo when the time is right and with documentation. And when I do, it will finally put to rest this long-standing misconception that Wallace Fard, under his many aliases, was a foreigner. Karl Evanzz, long regarded as the foremost authority on the private and corrupt life of Elijah Muhammad and the original Nation of Islam, continues to maintain that Wallace Fard was born abroad, even though Evanz's foreign origin theories have been thoroughly debunked. While Evanz's insights into Elijah Muhammad's inner circle remain influential, his conclusions about Farad's supposed foreign background have not stood up to scrutiny. One author has written that Beatty and Morris, the co-author with Anton Beatty, have put Evanz's Alam Khan theory to bed. But all that's really happened is this. Instead of abandoning the foreign-born narrative altogether, Beatty and Morris have doubled down and rolled out a sequel, this time starring a brand new mystery man, Wali Dad Khan. Different name, same plot. To this very date, no one has produced a public record that places the Nation of Islam's founder, Wallace Fard, with aliases, in a foreign country. In my next video, I'll address Beatty and Morris's chapter in their book regarding the Jasper, Texas 1910 census report.